Qantas has apologized after R-rated films on every screen were forced to be watched by people flying from Sydney to Tokyo. As in, you couldn't turn it off because their system broke, and then... Listen to how absurd this is. Their system breaks, and they take a poll of what to watch, and they decide that they'll watch an R-rated film, and no one could turn it off. So everyone on this flight, including children, had to watch Daddy-O on the screen. Which contains language and sexual material and brief graphic nudity.
Watching porn for the whole flight.
Normally, you have to be the one getting f***ed by Qantas, but this time they made the mistake of making you watch other people get f***ed.
That's outstanding.
Now, the movie features a lot of sexting, the kind you could literally read the text on screens without needing headphones too.
Gee.
And it took almost an hour of this before they switched to a more kid-friendly movie.
Can you imagine the questions the kids are asking their parents? Mummy, Daddy, what is this on the screen?
Mummy, you told me BBC doesn't exist.
Exactly. I thought the BBC was the news channel.
You told me not to mention BBC in front of Daddy again because he would find out your secret. They initially attempted to fix the screens for customers who did not want to watch the movie, but it was not possible. They switched it to a children's friendly film.
How is an R-rated movie in their system in the first place?
I don't know,
my
Marcus.
question.
This is a photo I took on my last Qantas flight.
Really? How is that only rated MA15 plus?
How is that on a plane?
What is an airline asking by having this type of movie?
I don't even know what the
available?
actual movie is, but anything with that name has to be like... There's been plenty more from Qantas because, you know, they haven't been doing great. During the AFL Grand Final, it was cheaper to fly to Europe, return.
Wow. I knew the prices got expensive. I didn't realize it was that bad.
What, you don't think it's decent to spend $1,800 to fly?
I just thought it was a little bit more expensive still to fly to Europe.
This is someone who flew on Qantas and they had a less than impressive flight experience. From the boarding, the flight attendants didn't look like they want to be there. No smile or welcome on board. Dinner time came around and we were asked, what would you like for dinner, without giving options or what to choose from. Which, to be honest, the fact that they even offered something as opposed to normally they just say, we only have this one left, because somehow they don't understand that if you have an offer of beef or fish, that 85% of people want beef and 15% of people want fish. No, we're going to have 50-50. And so by the time we get a third of the way through the plane, everyone's taken up all the beef.
That is
How many times does that happen
true.
on a plane? No matter where you sit, there's one obvious choice, and yet they decide somehow to have all this crap that no one wants, that some fancy chef has made into some fancy name, when it's his bowl sweat that he names as Himalayan water and tries to make it sound fancy. And you got that, or you got steak, and it's like, sorry, the first 30 people picked steak, so we only have the guy's Himalayan water left, which I don't even know what it is myself, but you'll have to ask someone. You could Google it, but we don't have Wi-Fi on our international flights, so go F yourself.
What do people expect on flights these days?
To be treated with decency and respect and edible food that isn't named some fancy bullshit.
No, that doesn't exist.
If airlines spent half the time on preparing food that they spent on coming up with fancy bullshit names for the food,
Oh, yeah.
people would be more happy. But at least they treat your baggage with respect.
I mean, he's just tossed it off. Oh, that's brutal.
The thing is, they're consistent. They treat you with the same respect. This is actually the new boarding process of Qantas. Throw the people in.
That doesn't surprise me, really.
Grandma's in a wheelchair, quick, throw it up the stairs.
One of them's laughing because he knows what's going on.
And look, that one didn't even make it, and you wonder why your luggage gets lost.
Yeah.
Oh, we made it over the thing.
He's purposely picked it up.
Yeah.
And smashed it down.
He's thrown it off the side.
There's definitely some anger issues for that.
I think that's just pretty standard customer service over at Qantas. Because I'll give you a story that happened to me recently. My sister-in-law flies here. I booked the flight for her. And she gets to the airport. They say, you won't make your connecting flight, so go home. we can't book you on another flight for 4 days, even though there's a flight the next day. They say, oh no, it would be too expensive to put you on that flight. They don't book anything. They send her home. So she has to pay to go home from the airport herself on Uber. They offer her nothing for it. Her bags are already on the plane. They're like, we can't get it off, so that's too bad.
Oh, hold on. That shouldn't happen in the first place anyway.
No, well, I mean, it's absurd and seems like it'd be a danger in other places in the world.
Hold on. Did the bags actually go on the plane and fly?
Yeah, the bags are gone.
Wow.
So at this point, we don't know what's happening to the bags. I call Australia and the woman's like, that is horrible. Like, that's so bad of the things. Because I explained to the woman on the phone too, hey, I can book a flight tomorrow and it's not actually that expensive. So why would they not just be able to move her to the next flight? This is your fault, not ours. And she's like, yeah, this is horrible. You shouldn't have to experience this. And then I'm like, okay, what happens with the bags? We don't know where they are now. And then she's like, I don't know. What? You'll have to call the baggage thing. I call the baggage thing in Australia and the baggage thing's like, yeah, they should tell you over there. And we're like, no. She gets to the airport, right? The baggage people tell her, so you have a connecting flight, but you should go outside the airport, collect your bags, then bring them back on. They won't be connected. And then, so we then have to call up again and explain the whole thing. And they're like, no, that can't happen. One, she doesn't have time to go through and go out and everything and recheck through. And two, the bags wouldn't be there because why would they? They weren't there on the flight you're on. They eventually got it sorted and got it through, but then yeah, they just completely effed her up.
That's a mess of monumental proportion.
Oh, I mean, that's just standard Qantas. Now, this is a great one. Unfamiliar objects spotted over Sydney confirmed there's a Qantas plane running on schedule.
Oh, yeah.
Qantas had to...
Oh, yeah.
They did respond to the...
I know this is the old CEO doing this.
Qantas has also been fined for selling tickets on flights that were already cancelled. So they got a nice $120 million fine, which as we know is F all for them, right? That's half the CEO's compensation for a month.
They only got fined $120 million.
For 86,000 customers they sold flights to that didn't exist. Their flights had already been cancelled, yet they sold the ticket.
That's a great way to make money.
In some cases, airfares were offered up to 62 days after Qantas had decided to cancel a flight.
62 days.
So over 2 months ago, they cancelled a flight and yet they're still selling tickets. But at least their support chat is helpful. So, you know, everyone over at Qantas is very helpful.
Oh, and this is meant to be our national carrier. Hiring some... Oh, that's brilliant. Oh, that looks safe.
One of the problems with Australia is that you do get wild animals on it. Now, I don't know if you saw this. This is from earlier, but still, David Warner had to call him out for losing his backpack.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's bad.
Now, I believe in the end they did end up getting it, but it was a very sus one. And then, well, yeah, Chappelle Corby.
Oh, well
noted boogie surfer.
I love how Chappelle Corby's managed to get... Oh, that's a brilliant...
Shout out to one of the greatest Qantas employees. One that I think they need to get back because obviously they have gone downhill since she left. Lisa Robinson, a flight attendant, lost her job after having sex with Ralph Fiennes Voldemort in a business class lavatory. They need to get back to customer service that mattered.
This was peak Qantas when this happened.
Yeah, this is when you could have sex in the lavatory and you didn't have to force kids to watch adult content.
Giving the customer an experience they will never forget.
Shout out to anyone who dobbed them in or complained. You deserve the shitty service from Qantas that the rest of us are getting. And it turns out you've been pronouncing Qantas wrong for a long time.
Heating up again, and we're being told fare discounting is as aggressive as it's ever been. Virgin's targeting key corporate routes, hoping to win over Qantas customers. While that means cheaper travel prices, likely to be bad news for the airlines.
That web address you'll need is youtube.com. Do not be immature. Be immature. It's great for us.
Very much not an accident. I think it's a very accurate description of Qantas. Oh, sorry, I mispronounced that, but we'll have to keep it with voice.
I reckon that was definitely on the auto cue.
Either it was a slip of the tongue, what she was thinking, or some intern put in the wrong thing by mistake.
Some intern definitely poured in the wrong thing.
Now we're crossing to a different airline, Air India, who are going to force flight attendants to share hotel rooms in wild cost-cutting moves.
Things must be getting really tight at Air India.
I don't know. It's like a good hookup service, I reckon. But they get their international layover allowances increasing. So, it's kind of a win-win.
You'd want to make sure you're rooming with someone you got along with.
Yeah,
on
you would
those
hate
flights.
to room with Marcus. God. United Airlines has threatened passengers. United Airlines had to move people out of business class who paid for the tickets and threatened passengers to give up their seats to flight attendants or the entire flight gets kicked off.
What?
And it came across as a threat both in their wording and tone, one passenger said.
Oh, that's not good.
And apparently it happened on another United flight. This time it was weight and balance, where the first 7 rows of passengers in business class were forced to move to coach. 7 rows! Wow. And the people were already in their pajamas watching movies, and they were livid the whole thing fell apart.
That is bad.
And the flight was cancelled for the second day in a row.
Oh,
Not quite as bad as Delta, who took things to a whole different level.
oh God.
Delta have gone out of their way to issue a eyebrow-raising memo about wearing underwear to flight attendant applicants.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me.
I know, how disgusting. Let applicants go commando.
I have to wear underwear to a job interview. What the hell has happened that they need to put out a memo about this?
Yeah, the wilder part of this is what happened where what was the scenario that led to this?
That's what fucking
This has to be that like 7 people decide to come for job interviews, obviously not wearing underwear. You need to dress for success, Marcus. You haven't been dressing for success.
I would have thought.
Stop wearing your ladies' G-strings to job interviews and you'll get a new job.
I would have thought going commando was actually a good way at dressing for success.
Not with your package. And even if you don't listen to this, what are they going to do? Like, they can't call you out on it either.
Goodness.
And like, can a hiring person go, I've been looking at your bulge and can tell that you're not wearing underwear?
Can you imagine how that one's going to go down if that's the reason why you don't know?
Well, that's the problem. Like, what option do they have?
Oh.
It's to help ensure commitment to Delta's brand and customer service.
That all their staff are wearing underwear.
I feel like they were always not going to get the job anyway, because I don't feel like you're going to be like the greatest employee ever who just forgets to wear underwear that day. Like,
So-
I feel like there's going to be more issues than just not wearing underwear. Do you?
Why does this have to become an issue?
You turn up with your short shorts to a job interview, balls dangling down, and the rest of us have to pay for it. Now, one woman, she kind of figured out how to beat airport security. I can't quite tell if this is an issue over her not wearing underwear because it is a Delta flight.
Oh, what a move. Oh, well done.
Now, the one place where even if you did beat the security, you're not getting through is probably an airport.
Oh, this is great.
Everyone's standing around laughing.
Oh, of course.
All those Delta employees wearing their underwear with not a care in the world. Think of what would have happened if those Delta staff hadn't have worn underwear, or God forbid they worked for Qantas.
Oh,